So tell us your founding story for EdLift.
Yeah, so basically where EdLift started is honestly my senior year of high school. So I actually thought I wanted to be an ambassador. I wanted to travel and do international affairs in college is what I initially thought I was passionate about. And then I saw a documentary. It was actually by a women's engineering club, I think at Stanford, by She++. And they talked about how few women and minorities pursued technology. And they also showed Facebook's campus and how, computer science is in everything you use. And I just remember watching that and thinking holy smokes, how could there be so few people who look like me in this industry that's clearly going to be the future? I have to try it. And my mom always jokes, she's like, I spent 18 years trying to get you interested in STEM, and it took this one documentary to do it. But it was perfect timing. And that's how I ended up as a freshman in university pursuing the computer science major. However, when I took that first engineering class, and maybe some of you students might relate to this, I felt like I was getting punched in the face multiple times. It was so hard. It was definitely an uphill battle. But despite it feeling so tough, I actually really liked being able to create something that was just an idea in my head and turn it, into fruition. And so the moment that really clicked for me, so even though I almost dropped out of the CS major so many times, the summer after my freshman year, I got my first internship offer, and it was from Facebook. And it was for as much as my parents were making, if not more, which, for a 19-year-old, you're like, holy smokes, again,
that's a lot.
My mind. That's a lot, right? And that was really the aha moment where I realized, this is how you create economic opportunity for people. I want to devote my life to helping more people have access to these in-demand fields. So that was honestly the true founder story. And so my senior year of college, that app that I had created for class was to help people find role models to get into these industries. And a lot of the people who are using that app actually happen to be college students. And so I ended up talking to our users. So I just talked to the people who are using the app who happen to be college students. And what we kept hearing them say was, this is, inspiring and impactful, but if you truly want to help make the biggest difference in my career, I need help getting through these really tough engineering classes. And so one of my good friends from high school, she actually had a similar experience with computer science at Stanford. And we kind of reconnected and realized that's where we can make the biggest impact. Let's, pivot Zemella, so that was the app that we started off with, into EdLift, and let's do what we did for ourselves in college, but help way more students get through their really hard computer science classes. And so that's where we are today.
You were one of the youngest Black women to raise more than $1 million. I can imagine it could feel exciting, but also a little disappointing that not more people have done it, right? I don't know.
Yeah, so it's funny too, because our fundraising actually started in March of 2020, which was probably the worst time to begin fundraising or to honestly be doing anything. So we were very privileged in that we actually did an accelerator. So Y Combinator, the top startup accelerator probably in the world, like DoorDash and Stripe and whatnot, Airbnb came through them. And so we had just finished their accelerator from January to March. And they're known for really helping startups raise a significant amount of funding at the end of the accelerator in March. However, for our batch, that was a little bit different because, COVID hit and no one knew what to expect. And so for us, what that journey looked like was honestly just, getting beat up a little bit. It was hearing a lot of no's. It was learning how to tell your story, while the rest of the world is in chaos. And just having to be super resilient. We actually fundraised from March to June, and I probably reached out to over 400 investors during that process. And I've definitely heard over 300 no's. And it was this process of just getting really, really confident in the fact that we are the best ones to solve this problem, and helping other people see that was the key learning there. And when we closed it, it was honestly the best feeling in the world. It didn't feel real because I remember so many moments where I thought, maybe we can't do it. The fact that, 0.001% of Black women have raised funding, I'm not special. We aren't going to get there. And I remember having that kind of moment. But every morning I woke up, I remembered, no, we are the best ones to do this. And I have to just keep trying. And so that's kind of what led us to closing the round.
I'm curious if you ever feel a tension, or if it ever comes up where you're balancing like improving the thing that maybe isn't perfect versus like building the next thing.
What we've learned from like our advisors and different founders is that every company kind of has its own set of like key values. So for example, like Apple, I think is on the other extreme, right? Like they're super design focused. They don't launch anything until like they know it's absolutely perfect to be put out there, and like user empathy and user design is their top value. So they're on the total other side of the spectrum. Whereas for us, the way we see it is, what is the thing that we can put out that creates the most impact for our students or for our users? And if that thing is, okay, well, if we make this one tweak to this thing that we know is like not working well, 80% more of our students will be, doing 100% better, versus like, let's spend, 2 months building this new thing that we're not sure, might work. In that case, we will always go for the thing that will have the biggest impact. And so the metrics that we use to determine which to focus on are like, how much will it help us achieve our goal, and how much time will it take us to build? And one kind of like hack that we've recently done, which has worked super well for us, is if we have a new feature bet that, we can build something new, grow really fast, we ask ourselves always, how can we build an MVP of this and get feedback in 1 week? And so we're always able to launch a lot of things quickly, even if it's like a big bet, because we're thinking about the MVP version of it.